Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 185. When we last left our heroes, Elsie and Ziggy started their fight. It was big, it was explosive, it was really just fucking well choreographed. But at a certain point, Elsie asked Ziggy what changed with Ziggy. And Ziggy sort of told Elsie about the whole, I did not have my memories at the time. This is the real me. The me you knew was just an amnesiac, was not really me. It sort of largely solidifies Elsie's resolve. He also mentions, he reveals to Elsie the whole thing about Shiki being a threat to the cosmos, though we still don't really have any idea what that all's about. Then we see Shiki, Rebecca, Wise, and Homura all meet up, beat some skeleton army guys, and find a passage to the core, where they will probably face off in a series of one-on-one battles against the various Dark Stars, as these sort of arcs tend to go. And then we're back to the fight with Ziggy, Elsie and Ziggy. And Elsie just goes all out. You know, she uses her grand chariot as a trap to, like, get Ziggy to warp into some like, trap ether to hold him still. She then uses Star Drain Lendard and the Total Eclipse attack to just wreck Ziggy, and she goes to finish him off. And Ziggy pretends to be the amnesiac Ziggy again, which causes Elsie to hesitate for a split second, allowing Ziggy to gravity a sword into her gut. And that's where we left off. So that said, let's dive right on into chapter 185, Corroded Arena. And our picture here is just of Xiaomei, sort of like arms stretched wide, tongue slightly sticking out. She's just sort of chilling. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, we pick up where we left off with the sword in Elsie, as she's just stunned in the state of like, what the fuck, that was not supposed to happen kind of thing. As she just lets out an and Ziggy, gravities the sword out of her, thereby opening the wound. And Ziggy then just like, we have this image of Ziggy using his power again. Oh, and with that, he like throws Elsie into the wall of the palace. And he approaches her, Magimech attack. And Elsie looks at him, stunned, but also like, she's weakened. That eye is like half closed. She looks out of it. Gravity Inferno! And he's just, I think, like, smacking her with, like, condensed gravity or something. Just over and over and over again. We see these little, like, craters all around the wall where Elsie is stuck. And that same force has hit Elsie a bunch of times, too. And with that, Ziggy just points down, and Elsie slams onto the ground. And Ziggy tells her, your own naivete brought this death upon you. Is she actually... I can't, like I said last week, I can't really see Elsie dying here. I can see her dying at some point during the arc, but again, I don't really see her dying without some kind of resolution with justice first. But anyway, Elsie's just on the ground, and Ziggy jumps down at her. Magimech attack. Gravity Comet! And he goes for her, but in the distance, there's this shining light. And someone zooms past Ziggy, but he doesn't hit Ziggy, he hits the ground. Is that justice? That might be justice there. It is. It is justice. And it's not, for a second I thought it would be justice like attacking Elsie himself. But instead he picks up Elsie and rescues her. Which is very much a Jalal kind of move in this situation. I'm curious what the reasoning is going to be for Justice doing this. And Ziggy reacts, who's there? And Elsie just lets out a, James. And Justice explains himself, sorry, but she's my quarry. I refuse to let you have her. Okay, so it's sort of that's sort of like cliched, the only one who can kill you is me kind of thing. Which, I guess works. It does work. It does work. It's, I don't know. There's just something about it that's just a little weird to me. Maybe it's how sudden Justice's arrival is here. Like, he really just came out of the blue. Even after, they have a whole conversation with Holy and Shiki about not telling Justice anything. Because if they told him anything, he would come here, so just keep him in the dark, right? But it seems like that doesn't matter because justice is here anyway. But Elsie goes on, you of all people, rescuing me. But Justice tells her, I'm not rescuing you. It is my mission in life to kill you. No one will take that from me. So again, it's just the sort of like, I'm gonna kill you, this is my revenge, I'm not letting Ziggy have you. So yeah, it's basically the same sort of concept I brought up earlier. Anyway, Elsie goes on, how did you find me? And then she realizes, of course, Feather. Oh, right, because Feather has the same kind of Eye of God power that Noah has. So even if Holy said nothing, Feather could have seen this happening and then let Justice know. Though, like, I'm curious why Feather did that. Because it seems like getting Justice involved in a conflict to stop Ziggy, which Feather wants, I'm pretty sure. Unless there's some secret about her we don't know. Getting Justice involved would, like, hurt the effort to stop Ziggy. Because Justice is going to go after Elsie. He's not going to go after fucking Ziggy when Elsie's in the room. I don't know. I'm curious about what Feather's goal was in bringing Justice here. Like, it worked and that it saved Elsie for now. But I still don't know what was going on in Feather's mind there. Anyway, Ziggy watches them go, and then I guess on like a comlink sort of thing calls Acnoella. And we see Acnoella chilling on the top of this tower, her dragons all like around her. I love the way the dragons are drawn here. They look like there's this like painterly quality to them that like Acnoella in the foreground doesn't have. How may I help, Lord Ziggy? Follow those two and end them. And Acnoella questions, oh, but did you not say you wanted to finish Lady Elsie? And Ziggy just tells her, I've lost interest. Okay, that's a random time to lose interest. I guess he's never really cared enough to, like, pursue Elsie. I don't know. But Acnoella goes on, if I may be so bold, Lord Ziggy, I am not your subordinate. I take no orders from you. Then consider it a request. In that case, gladly. However, please do remember this. Should you betray me, my children will devour every last machine on this planet. Is that something that could happen? Is Ziggy, like, plotting a betrayal? I mean, we know so little of the dynamic between Ziggy and Acnoella that, like, I guess he could be doing that. But I don't know. Ziggy just comments, you are a difficult woman. And then we leave them to go deal with the Eden Zero on his way to fight Crow. And Hermit reads out, high energy reading at 2 o'clock. And Sister comments, then he's here. And we see, walking through the city, the giant himself, Dead End Crow, staring down at the comparatively puny Eden Zero. Like, the Eden Zero is not the size of his head. That's the sort of size dynamic we're working with here. But I do love, we just have this whole page dedicated to Crow looming over the Eden Zero. And we see Jean react, Dead End Crow! And Clean, he is huge. And Laguna comments, this is much worse than I expected. And Connor calls out, evasive maneuvers. Let's see how this scalawag moves. And he does this little, like, pose thing. And we see Moscow in the background copying the pose. It's real cute. I'm a Moscow stan. But Holy, we see Holy's watching Crow from the window. And Crow seems to see her. And we cut to Holy again, and she's just got this devilish grin. Like, she's excited to take this guy down. Like, it may be less a... I've been assuming that, like, Holy was traumatized by Crow. But that seems more akin to, like, the Justice and Elsie dynamic than like, trauma. I don't know. Holy is a character with a lot of mysteries around her right now that I'm sure we'll find a lot more about by the time the war ends. But for now, let's just move on, because we're back in that passage from last chapter with the main four. As Homer asks Wise, might I ask you to return me to my usual attire? And Wise questions, what? I know they don't look like much, but these battlesuits are really strong armor. But Homer just tells him, I forgot who was talking. Yeah, anyway, ignoring that. I prefer to wear something with more freedom of movement. And Shiki comments, me too. This outfit's kind of tight, I don't like it. Fine, here. And he messes with like the like long range dress factory device, I guess. Which I think we've seen before, but I don't quite remember it in detail. But either way, Homura is back in her like traditional like Japanese robe attire. Yes, this is perfect. Shiki's back in his sort of normal outfit. Yeah. And Wise comments, well, we're at it. Rebecca can wear... And he sticks her in this bondage cat suit. Which is just... Okay. That's what we're doing right now. I mean, I know this is like the dichotomy of Mashima and Eden Zero in particular. But still, this is just really glaring for some reason. This bondage suit, designed by yours truly. And Shiki's just, whoa. Like Shiki being Shiki is kind of into it. But Homer is just, how indecent. And Rebecca protests, hey, why me? And Wise grins. And now you're acting like your old self again. Just change me back. Is that meant to, is Wise going to come out here and be like, I did all that so that you would stop being so down in the dumps? Because, like, that was not necessary. That was not the right way to go about that. And then Shiki fucks around with it some more. I prefer this one. And it's Rebecca in like a maid headdress and stockings and underwear and no bra. Or no, maybe there is. I'm not gonna look too hard at it to see if there actually is a bra or not. That's not important. It's too fucking it's horny fan service time at an awkward moment. Ooh, I like it. And Rebecca comments, I said change me back. And then we just move on from that, ignoring all that bullshit. As Happy looks around. Anyway, there's something about the machines here. And Pino as well. I agree. They don't seem like they were built this way. And Homer questions, what do you mean? I can't describe it, but it's as if they're growing. Like vines. It's like they grew into this formation over time. And Rebecca comments, well, they did call it a living planet. We do see Rebecca on the next page in an outfit that looks like, similar to the kinds of things she would normally wear. The little bit we see, it doesn't look like, it's a fairly like low-cut top she's got on. But, it's not whatever the fuck Shiki put her in. That's an improvement, I guess. Anyway, Wise comments, and maybe the machines have been eating away at the planet. And Shiki pops in, if that's true, I wonder what it was like before. And that does kind of raise a question to me. Because I'm wondering, the thing I'm wondering as they've had this whole conversation is that done by Ziggy, which seemed like the go-to answer, especially for the Shiki gang, who don't know about Elsie's connection to this world? Or is this the end result of whatever Elsie's parents were up to? And I don't know. It's possible that, this was part of, maybe, we know they wanted some kind of, powerful weapon, I think is what Ziggy said. Maybe they were converting their planet into, a Death Star kind of thing. That's maybe what was going on, and that sort of is the end, this is sort of the end result, and that's why Ziggy picked Lendard, maybe? I don't know. It's all a possibility, I'll say that much. And Rebecca then says, the chronophage ate its time, revealing the beautiful kingdom that once stood here. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm not sure it would be, Rebecca, given what we know about Lendard before it fell. And at this point, I'm gonna drop a theory I've had for a while. While they've been talking about Planet Eater, the sort of things that are going in my mind and I haven't really had an opportunity to bring up, is how I think the chronophage subplot is going to go. My theory is, they will call the chronophage, and they will fail to get out in time. And, just when they're like, oh, it's all for nothing, maybe we're going to die, but at least we saved the universe, they're going to find out, in sort of an echo of the Ultier bit in at the end of the Grand Magic Games arc in Fairy Tail, that it only went back 5 minutes or something. That the chronophage, because the time the chronophage steals is random, it won't actually do anything. They will only go back a day, or a couple hours or something. Maybe back to the beginning of the arc, maybe to earlier in, maybe a later point in the arc. But I think the chronophage will hit, and it will go back to some time during the war. It won't be useful at all. leaving them to have to deal with Ziggy the old-fashioned way. That's my big point. I don't think that Ziggy will get taken out by a chronophage. That's just kind of lame. But anyway, moving on to the actual chapter. Wouldn't that be nice? And Happy, again, not knowing Lendart's history, just comments, Pino tells them all, look, we're about to come to an open space. And they walk to this open space, and they see it like a destroyed coliseum. Like covered with like sand and those like metal vines snaking through it. Shiki looks around, what is this place? And Wise comments, it looks like a coliseum. And Rebecca, like a medieval arena? Okay, what does the term medieval mean in this fucking sci-fi world, right? Like, it might just be nothing, might just be, you know, mashing up peppering in a real world word. But maybe, like, we've talked about the Dark Ages in the past. We don't really have much of a sense of what that means. But anyway, Homura sees some silhouettes in the distance. There's someone here. Also, it should be noted, this is definitely the corroded arena of the title, in case that wasn't obvious. The way it's sort of, like, desiccated and everything definitely is a corroded arena. But we see them, and yep, that's the Dark Stars. Like I was sort of saying in the last video, it's about time that Shiki and the gang get their more traditional shonen fights in. They're like one-on-one encounters, or maybe it will be a more unique sort of like 4-on-4 sort of thing. All that remains to be seen. But I don't remember each of their names. I think this is Wizard is the first one, maybe? Fools who sinned against Lord Ziggy. And this sort of like lion mask guy, that might be Brigandine Mark II. Prepare yourselves. And I think is that Killer is the kid in the hoodie. Let me see if I can, I'm going to pull up the wiki actually, so I can have them all over. Yeah, it's Killer Mark II. Time to fight us. Time to fight us. The Demon King's 4 Dark Stars. And Clown, this will be where you meet your end. And then we have, I actually drew like sort of parallel here of the 4 Dark Stars and the four members of the original crew. Sorry, that's my medicine alarm. Standing against them. Ziggy's cronies, eh? And Homura chimes in, which means we are approaching the core. And Rebecca, be careful, everybody. And Shiki just tells them all, let's go. And that's the end of the chapter. So, bit of a mixed bag this week. Or that might be slightly unfair to say for a problem that really only lasted a page and a half. But you know, that just felt like the random putting Rebecca in overly sexed up clothes against her will just felt really like I can see it being an attempt to like lighten the mood as, you know, the big final battle. Not the big final battle, but like there's not going to be a lot of room for levity going forward as the gang fights, you know, the counterparts of the Shining Stars, you know, and their big, super hard shonen battle shit for the arc. But like it was still just sort of annoying and uncomfortable, and it was based in Rebecca being uncomfortable, which is just not great. But whatever, it is what it is, it happened. The rest of the stuff is pretty good. The Justice stuff is just a little weird to me. I don't know. Like maybe it's just the whole concept of I'm gonna be the one to kill you, not anyone else, is sort of just feels a little contrived. Like it works. I can follow the thought process there. It all makes sense or whatever. But like, I don't know. I don't know why it bothers me. Also, I don't know, like, with Elsie as weak as she is, if it's just killing, why not just, like, break her, why not just, like, drop her here? Boom, you killed Elsie. Maybe it would feel too much like it wasn't him. Or maybe it's just sort of like, you know, he's been in the, to quote The Princess Bride, he's been in the revenge business so long, he doesn't know what he'd do once he's finished. I don't know, but I imagine maybe we'll get more info on Justice in the next couple chapters, or whenever we check back in on him and Elsie again. So I might save any genuine condemnation for that plot point until later, but just something about it doesn't quite sit right with me is my real problem. But seeing Ziggy just like go at Elsie is plenty fun, and the promise of Acnoella going after them too could also be good, especially if it ends up being like Justice having to defend Elsie because he wants to be the one to kill her, and then there's some sort of like the mix of the sort of what's the word I'm looking for? The confluation, maybe? Is that a word? Let me see. Blah. I'm thinking like a noun version of confluence. I guess it would just be confluence. Confluence is a noun. So the confluence of this sort of love and hate leading into Justice protecting Elsie, but he doesn't really know why. I could see that leading to ship fuel. Definitely. 100%. And I don't know if I'm really into... Like, I love me some Jerza, but I think Justice and Elsie being distinct from Jerza, being specifically non-romantic and hating each other genuinely, does good work, like, separating them from their obvious lookalikes. So I don't really want them to start being, like an endgame ship couple. But anyway, that could still be fun. I'm gonna really save judgment on that until we actually see Acnoella go after them. Then, the Eden Zero crew and the ex-Drakken gang, and Holy, all reach Crow. So that fight's gonna begin very soon. And Holy is fucking pumped for this. She is, like, ready to draw blood. Or oil, I guess. But she is ready for this fucking fight. But then, yeah, there's a little bit of ignoring the fan service bit. There's some discussion as to, like, what exactly the nature of Lendard is, which, given what the audience knows about Lendard's past, is definitely going to be relevant before this whole arc is over. But with that, they come upon the Dark Stars, and it's time for the next phase of this arc to begin. The gang has found their sort of one-on-one opponents. And I, for one, am really excited to see all this. We know so little about the Dark Stars, but like they've been built up for the past 90 or so chapters, or 80 or so chapters, and I'm pumped. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm here for this fight. These fights. I have my issues with this chapter, but I'm still pumped to see what's going to happen next week. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!